Well, hello to you and welcome to Inside Health on Signature Television, a health show where we have conversations around topical health issues. Well, today we're going to be talking about dietary and lifestyle changes for cancer prevention and management. Of course, I'm your host, Chigichi Agoram. Well, we're going to go on a short break, and when we come back, I'm going to introduce my guest on the show today. To stay with us. Well, thank you so much for staying with us. This is still Inside Health, and today we are talking dietary and lifestyle changes for cancer prevention and management. Now, our guest is a dietitian. In fact, she's a dietitian in oncology department. Her name is dietitian Chioma Nwachukwu. She's an assistant director, nutrition and dietetics, UNTH Itukwuozala, Enugu. Hello, dietitian Chioma. I got that right.
Yeah.
Great. You're welcome to the show.
Thank you. It was my pleasure.
Great. You light up the room. I must give you that compliment.
Thank you.
All right. So, people are wondering, food, diet, and cancer. Some of us can't actually make the connection. However, it is something that is being done, being practiced. Dietary ways of preventing and managing cancer. Now, as a dietitian, tell me exactly where your work is important in managing a patient who has cancer.
Thank you. Before I proceed, first of all, I want to do some clarification.
Okay.
Food, like we all know, food is something edible.
Yes.
Yes, food is an edible substance which, when eaten, nourishes the body. The diet is that portion. Is that portion of food, that portion that you take, food or drink that you take on daily basis. It is personalized to you. It could be a restrictive diet, wherever we try to, remove one or two, ask you not to take one or two different types of nutrients in a particular food just to handle a disease condition. It could be therapeutic in nature. Being therapeutic in nature means that maybe, we are using it to cure a particular disease condition.
Yeah.
Maybe diabetes, ulcer, hypertension, and then of course cancer. So looking at the relationship between all of them, you find out that since we know that we can do, food is something we cannot do without. And at the same time, there is no how that we can effectively manage cancer without bringing in diet. Because diet play a very, very crucial role in the management of cancer. Diet. Your diet helps to, once it is optimal diet.
Okay. 1 minute. There's something I want to bring out so that we try to break down these complex issues to tiny bits that people can, take and run with. Now, you say not all food constitutes diet. Okay. You're saying diet is a personalized,
that food you eat is
that is personal to you.
That is personal.
Can you now say that there are some people who are not on diet, though they eat food, but they are not on diet?
That is what I said, that diet is that portion of food. That portion that you have, that you eat. It can be food, drink that you take. That portion that you take on daily basis.
Good.
That is personalized to you. What I mean by being personalized to you, it could be that maybe you've seen a dietitian and she placed you on a particular diet, maybe a maintenance diet. Or it could be that you have one disease condition.
There are some of us that have never been on a diet before or never seen a dietitian
and
before.
That food,
yes.
That was why I said that food you eat, the food or the drink that you take, that makes up your diet. That plate that you are watching is what makes up your diet. It is not left for us to say that it is after the assessment, looking at what you take, it's not left for us to say whether the food is good or a bad nutrition, whether it's a good nutrition or a bad nutrition that is constituted in that particular plate that you are taking. You understand what I'm trying to?
Absolutely.
So if you have a plate of maybe rice now, a dietitian can look at it and tell you that this is just majorly carbohydrate foods. Yeah. But if you have something like meat there, she can say, okay, that there is protein there. In as much as the rice also has protein, right? Little portion of protein. Then meat is also there, making or bringing the protein aspect of it. Then if you have vegetable by the side, then you find out that the vegetables are there, something that can supply the vitamins and minerals are also there. Depending on how you prepare it again, you understand? You can also say that there is fiber in that plate, because the vegetable has what? It has fiber. In as much as the cereals that you are taking, like rice that you are taking, also has fiber in it. But vegetable give you more of the fiber content of that food. Then you can look at it again and say, oh, it's not just white rice and vegetables, that you have oil there. So the fats are there, right? Fats and oil is also there. So you find out that aspect of the nutrient is also there. And of course, you prepare the food with water. So you can now, I'm trying to bring in the different classes of nutrients that we have carbohydrate, protein, fats and oil, vitamins and minerals and water. You find out that they are all in that plate. So we can now say that it is what you are taking is balance.
We're taught balanced diet in school.
But then I may not really say it is adequate, because what is adequate for you may not be adequate for me. It depends on your age, depends on your sex, it depends on your activity pattern. If you are a sedentary worker like we are sedentary now, we are just sitting down working, in as much as the brain is at work. You find out that what? Someone that is doing this kind of work will not be the same with someone that pushes barrow out there. The diet of that person will not be the same with those of us that are sitting here. It differs. You understand? So you see the difference there. But whereby we look at the adequate, is it adequate? When we consider all the previous points I just mentioned, you can now say, okay, this is adequate for this person. That is talking about the constituents of that plate we are looking at. And at the same time, we can now look at it again and say, okay, is there moderation in what you are taking? Which is another characteristics you look at again in the plate of food. Is there moderation in what you are taking? Moderation in the sense that, assuming you are taking that bowl of rice that you are taking, you have large quantity of rice and just add little vegetable by the side. You understand? One is not even balanced, considering the amount of vegetable or the quantity of vegetable that is there. And then we can look at it, how often you take it. You can now look at it and say, okay, there is moderation there. But whereby you don't try to bring in all these factors into play in what you're eating, you find out that you may be eating more of a particular nutrient while you are deficient, the body is deficient in some other.
Now, are they proportions, are they percentages assigned to different types of food nutrients, for example, starch, and then this proportion to protein, this proportion, before we get into how it affects oncology patients? We're talking to mothers, we're talking to women, men who cook, of course. How would you look at a plate and say, okay, maybe 50% to carbohydrate, maybe 20%? I'm just speaking hypothetically. Is there a way you can mentally get the right proportion that should it should be assigned to different nutrients?
Yeah, ideally we have different proportions that we assign to different nutrients. We have for protein, we have for carbohydrate, but it entails calculation, right? So but we try to do it in a pictorial form that even a lay person, when you look at it, you can understand it. We advocate you take more of vegetables, more of fruits in what you are taking. Take more of vegetables, take more of fruits. Then carbohydrate, take moderate portion of carbohydrate. All right. Take little quantity of fat.
Okay, we'll get neck deep into that. But right now we'll have to call for our special report so that we can have an understanding, our viewer can also have an understanding of what we're talking about before we get neck deep into it. So please take a listen to our special report.
Cancer. It is a word that carries heavy significance, striking fear into the hearts of millions around the world. Over 18 million people are diagnosed with cancer annually, and despite remarkable advances in research and treatment,
Every second, every minute, every day, news is breaking. Events occur and there are new developments. At Signature TV, we follow these stories objectively, bringing all sides without bias, explaining the complex issues, breaking down the numbers, and investigating the issues behind the news. Anywhere and everywhere, near or far, wherever the news is, we will be there. Signature TV. News in your pocket.
Every year, millions of people around the world are diagnosed with cancer, a disease that remains one of the leading causes of death globally. Yet, a growing body of evidence suggests that the power to prevent and manage cancer lies not only in medical treatments, but also in the way we live and the food we eat. Dietary choices play a pivotal role in reducing the risk of developing cancer and in helping manage its progression for those already diagnosed. What we consume can influence cellular health, reduce inflammation, and protect our DNA from damage that might lead to cancer. Fruits and vegetables are at the heart of cancer preventive diet. They are rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and fiber nutrients that help fight oxidative stress and inflammation, both of which can contribute to cancer development. The more colorful the plate, the better. Brightly colored vegetables like spinach, kale, and carrots contain a variety of phytonutrient-powerful compounds that support immune function and protect against cancer. But diet is only one piece of the puzzle. Regular physical activity is just as important. Studies have shown that exercise can lower the risk of various cancers, including breast, colon, and endometrial cancer. It not only helps maintain a healthy weight, but also improves immune function, reduces inflammation, and supports overall health. Aim for at least 30 minutes of moderate exercise most days of the week. This doesn't mean you need to run marathons. Even a brisk walk, a dance class, or yoga can have significant benefits for your health. Hydration is another essential part of cancer prevention. Drinking plenty of water helps flush toxins from the body, aids digestion, and supports the detoxification process. Opting for whole unprocessed foods, Grains, legumes, and seeds add valuable fiber to the diet, which promotes digestive health and may reduce the risk of colorectal cancer. Healthy fats also play a role in cancer prevention. Olive oil, nuts, and seeds are rich in monosaturated fats that promote heart health and fight inflammation. Additionally, turmeric, with its active ingredient curcumin, is known for its anti-inflammatory properties and has shown promise in fighting cancer cells in various studies. It's important to limit refined sugars and processed foods. Research has shown that excessive sugar consumption can fuel the growth of cancer cells, while processed foods can introduce harmful chemicals into the body. Instead, opt for nutrient-dense snacks like nuts, berries, or even a small piece of dark chocolate. These are not only satisfying but also offer health benefits. Equally crucial to our health are the ways in which we manage stress. Chronic stress has been linked to an increased risk of cancer, as it can weaken the immune system and increase inflammation. Mindfulness meditation and deep breathing exercises can help reduce stress levels, fostering a calmer, more balanced mind and body. Strong social connections and emotional well-being are vital components of overall health. Research suggests that people who maintain close relationships and engage in positive social interactions are better equipped to manage stress and improve their resilience against illness. This connection with others can also provide essential emotional support, which is crucial for individuals managing cancer. Sleep, often overlooked, is another cornerstone of cancer prevention. During sleep, the body repairs itself, regenerates cells, and strengthens the immune system. Chronic sleep deprivation can increase the risk of cancer by disrupting hormone levels, impairing immune function, and raising stress. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of quality sleep each night to help maintain your body's natural defenses. Incorporating these lifestyle changes doesn't require drastic measures or extreme diets. It's about making small, sustainable choices every day. By focusing on whole plant-based foods, regular physical activity, stress management, and adequate sleep, you can create a foundation of health that can reduce your cancer risk and improve your quality of life. Whether you're looking to prevent cancer or supporting the healing process after a diagnosis. Cancer prevention and management is not just about one specific action, but rather about a holistic approach, a lifestyle that nurtures the body, mind, and the spirit. Every positive choice you make, from the food on your plate to the way you care for yourself, plays a role in fostering a healthier, stronger life. And while we cannot always control every factor, we have the power to choose how we respond, how we live, and ultimately, how we thrive. A healthier tomorrow begins with the choices you make today. Choose wisely.
Welcome back. Don't forget, we're still discussing dietary and lifestyle changes for the prevention and management of cancer. And dietitian Chioma Nwachukwu is still in the studio doing justice to this topic. So tell us, let us create a hypothetical scenario where a cancer patient is referred to you. Tell us what is the protocol like? What do you assess and how do you begin to help this patient?
Okay. Thank you. When a cancer patient is referred to us, of course, first of all, he or she comes to the referrer. And with the referrer, we'll be able to assess the folder. Look at the patient's folder, look at the family history, the social history, the drug history, all this history, then you ask your questions. For us dietitians, we also check, we use the NCP, Nutrition Care Plan.
Nutrition care plan.
Yeah. So we try to look at, first of all, you get a physical assessment of the patient. You take the anthropometric measurements of the patient, you can take weight and height measurement, get a BMI of the patient. You can take a waist-hip ratio of the patient. Then you can check the the biochemical assessments done so far. You can check the PSA level of the patient.
You know, you're speaking medicinese.
Oh.
So you might have to break it down by chemical analysis. So break it down so that you can understand.
Biochemical analysis or assessment of the patient. That's, you look at the lab results.
Good.
Check the lab results of the patient. So when you check the lab results, you know you are checking the blood volume of the patient, because one of the complications of cancer management or treatment is they have, some of them, at one point in time, you see them having anemia. Okay, so you see them at times being transfused. But at the same time, you come in with a diet to assist. Okay, so you check the blood test, let me say in such a way that the blood test of the patient. You also check, you can check the serum electrolyte, urea creatinine level of the patient. You check for tumor markers. You check, after checking all the necessary biochemical assessments so far. Then you engage the patient, you do your dietary assessment. Dietary assessment, you can use 24-hour dietary recall. Ask the patient questions. The patient should be able to recall what he or she ate in the past 24 hours. At times you do 48-hour dietary recall. But at times, the patient might not really be able to recall, depending on the treatment. If the patient is having chemo brain, when they have chemo brain, they find it very difficult to, to recall certain things, confusion, they forget, and all that. So, at times, you need the caregiver around, more especially the caregiver that is staying with the patient, the one that is taking care of the patient, so that you can also ask him or her questions. When you ask him or her questions, the person will tell you, he or she ate so, this and that, and then you'll be noting down. You note down with the quantities. You know down the quantities, then you calculate at the end of the day. But 24-hour dietary recall might not be enough to give you what you are looking for. It might give you the immediate intake of the patient at that point in time. So what you will do, you also take, you can take the diet history. Now you want to look at the feeding pattern of the patient over a protracted period of time. You also want to look at the dietary habits of the patient. It's when you look at all these things, you find out what...
It seems as though there's a long, follow-up.
No, even when you are doing the assessment.
Okay.
So you are asking those questions. You may ask him or her, how often do you take maybe rice or beans or yam? The patient will tell you, I take it maybe once a day or twice a day or 3 times in a week. And as you are doing the assessment, you also ask the beverage intake, alcohol intake of the patient. Ask about everything that the patient takes in. So when you take this in, we have a way of calculating them. It's when you calculate, you'll now be able to arrive at a particular kilocalorie. You can now say that this patient takes maybe 2,000 kilocalorie per day, or 2,500, or 3,000, or 3,500, at times 4,000, or 1,000 kilocalorie, at times 1,500, depending. And based on the assessment, you now have your diagnosis. From your diagnosis, you can now come into, you intervene, you do dietary intervention. You now come in and say, okay, this patient will be on maybe low-fat diet, high-calorie diet, or high-protein diet, depending on the assessment. But in as much as you are paying attention to maybe the low-fat diet, or the high-calorie diet, or high-protein diet that you are placing the patient on, you're also looking at the nitty-gritties. There are some, some foods like, in cancer management, when you are managing the patient, assuming it's a breast cancer, you know that from research, it has been discovered or found out that alcohol is traceable to breast cancer, amidst other things, right? Also, dietary intake. You may find out that the person takes foods that contain maybe little dietary fiber, or maybe devoid of dietary fiber. You understand? So you can come in and tell the patient why counseling. Now that's a dietary intervention. Why counseling the patient? You can, increase the dietary intake. You also, while taking the history, you also take into cognizance the dietary, the likes and the dislikes of the patient. But while taking the likes and the dislikes of the patient, you also find out the likes of the patient. At times, you find that some people just don't like taking a particular food for no reason. if there's no reason for the patient not to take that food, and you know that he or she needs that particular diet at that point in time, or that particular food at that point in time, you go ahead and you encourage the patient to take it and see if there will be any reaction. For example, some people will tell you that they don't like taking watermelon. No reason. You ask them why. It is good though. It's rich in beta carotene. It's a diuretic. It's rich in the water content. Some will tell you we don't like taking cucumber. Why? They tell you that the crunchy nature of what they take, when they are taking it, to be as if they are taking foam. You understand?
Interesting.
So what you now do as a dietitian is your work, because you know that at that point in time that the patient needs that. You can now say, okay, can we do it this way? Can we blend it? What if we blend it? Can you be able to take it? Say, blend it. If you now blend, the caregiver may blend, and then you give the patient. And the patient takes it. It's still the same food that he or she says that he doesn't like taking, right?
We're discussing prevention and management, but let's go back to prevention a little bit. Tell us, what are carcinogenic food? Because you hear that all the time. Oh, don't take this, it's carcinogenic. Oh, don't take that. So what exactly are carcinogenic food? And tell us, so that when we go to the market the next time we know what we're buying and what we're living.
Foods, the foods that are the foods that have the ability, to predispose one to cancer. That's carcinogenic in nature. The foods that are carcinogenic, they have this have the ability to predispose one to cancer. But then, first of all, we look at fried foods. Fried foods. Because from research, so many foods are linked to that. High fat intake. High fat intake. When you fry foods, depending on the type of oil you are using, because we have oil that are heart friendly, we have oil that are also not heart friendly at the same time.
You're going to give us examples.
Yeah,
so
I'll give examples.
Good.
Yeah. So when you look at it, we have saturated, we have unsaturated fat. The saturated ones are the ones like, let me describe it.
The types that you go to the market to buy on a very cold day and they're all congealed.
Exactly. If you're sleeping, that type of oil that sleeps when you are sleeping.
Run from it, yeah.
When you are feeling cold, that's oil feels cold. Run from it. These are the saturated ones. But the unsaturated ones, they are liquid or fluid in nature. Even at times when you even put them in the fridge, you find out that it doesn't congeal, right? So you can go for, should I mention? Because
yes, please. Don't mention the brand, but just sunflower oil, vegetable oil, groundnut oil.
Soy base now. Let me use soy base. Let me not call a particular brand. Soy base oil. They contain polyunsaturated fat. Olive oil has monounsaturated fat. They are heart friendly. They are good. But any other type of oil, because these ones I may be calling brand. Any type of oil that
don't
that
call
once
the brand.
once you sleep, it
sleeps with you.
Yes, so you run away from those type of oil. And then another thing about oil is this: when you fry.
So you're saying oil is carcinogenic, or the food that is fried with the oil becomes carcinogenic?
It's the process now.
Okay.
The process. Now, when you now fry the food, you denature the bond of the oil. I'm talking about how it gets to that being carcinogenic. You denature the bond. Once you denature the bond, you still refry again. You see where they are frying akara or even buns. They keep using the oil. You fry it, you refry, converting it from the cis form to trans form, which is harmful to the heart. And at the same time, it's harmful to the heart. It affects the arteries. It can deposit in the arteries and the veins once it deposits there. So the tendency of doing what? Leading to a particular disease condition is already there. Okay, that is for fat. Then you also look at foods like the fruits now, the vegetables.
What about processed food?
I'm coming out. Okay. You look at the vegetables and the fruits that we take. Are they carcinogenic? They are not. But can they also be carcinogenic? They can.
In what ways?
Yeah, depending on the condition we meet them in the market. If you go to market now, you see what is happening. They first ripe the fruits. You look at what's they called? You look at banana. Look at the banana. They add chemicals to first ripe the banana. Same thing applies to what to the citrus. That's the oranges you see in the market.
They fast track the ripening process.
And these are the process. Yeah, sorry. These are the what? These are the chemicals that are not supposed to find their way into food. So these are the cancer forming. That's cancer things that have the ability to do what? To predispose one to cancer if one continues taking them.
Now, there's a practice that has been making the rounds, of course, on social media. I don't know how much of research that has gone into it. Aluminum foil. People keep saying run away from aluminum foil, that each time you use it and it passes through fire, it deposits some aluminum inside what you're eating. Tell us about that. Is it true, or it's just an old wives' tale?
It's still let me say, it's still speculations that are going around, you know. But I know that people emphasize more on nylon, use of white nylon, because of the volatile chemicals that are used in process and producing them.
All sorts of nylon?
White nylons.
Okay.
And other nylons. If once you cook with them, that the tendency to do what? For those volatile materials that are used in producing them to infiltrate into the food is there. So for us to be safe, there's no harm in trying to do what? In trying to play safe. You can always go back to the olden days, the way they do it. They use plantain leaves. They use all different leaves. We found out that the leaves, they also impart the phytonutrients in those foods, in the food, instead of going for the ones that are, you know, chemically, that has chemicals in them. But you go for the natural ones, you know, that will impart something good, also more nutrients to the food. So that is what we are advocating anyway. But the aluminium one, I haven't seen, but research is still going on. You understand?
Yeah.
So, but that of nylon, we are asking people to do what? You can cut down and abstain from using those ones. Use the leaves themselves.
Now, what about? I'm trying to remember the name. These packs that are being used to sell food, roadside food.
Okay. The plastic ones.
Stylophone or stylo something.
That they use.
Yeah.
The packaged
There's
foods.
also this word that it's also carcinogenic.
Yes.
And it's the same process.
Yes.
Wow.
And of course, we found out that there was a time now that came online to talk about it, that people should stop using it. Well, we found out that our people, I don't know, maybe because we want to make profits or maybe go for things that are cheaper, you still see them using it, right? The plastic phone.
Sure.
Still see them using it. So, but if people can abstain, and then let us rechannel to something that is more healthier.
Yes.
We find out that what we will be able to run away from some of these degenerative diseases, like this cancer that is eating deep. And then coming to the processed foods you asked that time. You know, you asked about processed food. Processed foods, the ultra or highly processed foods, you know, they use them, we have them in the markets, right? And they add chemicals to them. They add preservatives to them. The preservatives they add to them to prolong their shelf life is what is our problem, our bone of contention, right? The preservatives. Nobody is there to monitor. Nobody is there to check the quantity, whether they are sticking to the grass level. Nobody is there to check the stipulated level they should have to be. Nobody checks it, right? So you find out that they add it, more especially you have the preservatives they add to them are the ones that have been from history, you know, from research. They can predispose one to this cancer. But we encourage people to go for something natural. Go for natural foods.
All right. Do you also recommend supplements? So tell us about supplements and how.
At certain point in time, because we are talking about cancer management, right?
Yes.
At certain point in time, there are you find out that they take certain supplements. They can take supplement, but at the same time, there are some they cannot take, like folic acid.
Cancer patients are not to take folic acid?
They are not to take folic acid. Right? But they can take folate. The other time I was teaching,
what's the difference between folate and folic acid?
Folate is in food. Folic acid is in synthetic form.
Oh.
You understand? So this one is in synthetic form, and it can help in proliferation of the cancer cells. Unless there is a research that comes on board to tell us that it's no longer proliferating it, right? Okay, but the folate one is in food. You see them in, you have it in okra, you have it in vegetables. So you can't say stop eating okra, stop eating, but it's in natural form. The bioavailability is high. The body has a way of converting them and making proper use of it. Unlike when you use the synthetic ones.
Okay. All right, let's talk about, because a while ago, you mentioned something while the special report was ruling, something about turmeric.
Okay.
Let's talk about our natural spices and, and vegetables. Let's, with turmeric as a, case in point. Tell me about turmeric.
Okay. I'll use turmeric, and then turmeric is a herb. At the same time, is a spice. So it's one of the spices that have been isolated. We find out that it has a ability to curtail the cancer cells. It can induce the apoptosis, that's the death of the cancer cells. Turmeric. But
is turmeric that selective?
Yeah, is an anti-inflammatory.
Because the idea we have of cancer is that it's eluding medical treatment because most of the drugs are not able to select the cancer cells. As such, it kills both cancer cells and the normal body cells.
Yeah, more especially when the patient is undergoing chemo. Chemo targets both the normal cells and of course.
Okay, so, but I apologize. I know that you want to run. We need to call for what we call a vox pop, where we find out what the people know so far. You say you're a teacher. Okay. You get to find out what your students know before you know how to go about teaching them. Okay. So let's get to the streets and then find out what people know about dietary and lifestyle changes towards cancer prevention and management. Listen to this.
Cancer is very dangerous, because most of the ones I've heard about, it has taken the lives of so many people if care is not taken. I've heard about the bone marrow cancer, cancer of the breast, and different other cancers. Actually, it leads to an increasement in that part where it is. Yes, smoking and taking alcohol too much, that is excessive smoking. I think drawing of tattoos and using chemicals in your body, including this eating okpa that has nylon. Due to the heat, chemicals from the nylon will go into the okpa, and when you take it in, it keeps on growing like that because the chemicals will make your cells weak and dead. I think staying a healthy lifestyle, having a healthy lifestyle, such as staying away from alcohol and smoking, eating good food that's balanced diet, and then fruits, enough fruits, and then also exercising. I think with this, you're going to live a healthy life.
To avoid cancer, people should try and avoid eating foods that has been refrigerated for long, and eat healthy food like vegetables, and also avoid eating food which has gone through lots of preservation processes like canned meat and so on. Civilization has brought us this pain because if you look through the ages, you will notice that the lifespan of humans have been reducing due to our intakes. Nowadays we take canned meat, we take food that has been refrigerated for a long period of time, and it has really affected us in our aging. Now, according to science, you can see that a human can live over 40 to 45 years. But those days, you can note that people are living over 100, 150, and even most of the times 200 years. But now, it has reduced drastically. So, to my understanding, civilization has really affected us.
Cancer is one of the commonest diseases, deadly diseases, which we have in our country right now. Yes, which kills people like randomly. Yes, obviously, civilization is the reason why we undergo different diseases, most especially cancer. Because due to civilization, due to this our modern world, they bring out a lot of stuffs that, like, they put a lot of stuff in can, and can is also a major cause of cancer. Even now that they bring out all this vaping, boys call it vapor, they vape, something like vaping. It causes cancer in the lungs. To prevent this cancer we talk about, there is something called public enlightenment. Our government should bring out an association or organization that will talk more on this, and the way at which they package our food, our edibles, should be reduced. Yes, should be reduced, because those things in which they use in packaging our edibles also causes cancer to the body.
Welcome back. Well, before we went to view what the people had to say on the streets, we are talking about turmeric, and dietitian Chomamwa Chukwu is still here in the studio. So tell us about turmeric. You could listen. You heard the young man talk about lifespan. Before now, we had longer lifespans, but these days with instant this, fast that, the lifespan rather has actually come down. But we noticed that in those days, our forefathers were a lot into vegetables. They were a lot into herbs and things like that. So we were talking about turmeric before we went over to listen to the Vox Pop. So tell us about turmeric.
Okay, so turmeric, like we were saying before, turmeric is a spice. At the same time, is a herb. So turmeric has the ability, because of the active ingredient it contains. It has curcuminoid compound. The curcuminoid compound is the active ingredient, the most potent ingredient that turmeric has. So, but then the body doesn't just utilize it. It needs something that will help the body. Assuming, for example, let me say, assuming 100 grams of turmeric powder, assuming it has 70 or 60% of 60 or 70% of curcuminoid compounds in it, when you take it, the body will not extract, won't be able to extract up to that 60% content. You understand? Because the bioavailability is low. Okay. But you need something that will help.
What bioavailability
That's is? Being available.
The ability really removed from the body easily, yeah?
Ability for the body to extract that active ingredient and utilize it is very low.
It's very low.
So you need to add something.
Okay.
So that's why turmeric, we always tell people, you don't just take turmeric, maybe you are treating cancer or managing cancer, you are just taking turmeric. It doesn't just work. That curcuminol compound requires something that will help it to be extracted. Something like a black pepper. Black pepper has pepperine in it. So black pepper will help to do what? To extract that.
So how do you combine the two?
You combine it, you work in ratios. You can work in ratios. You combine, add to your tolerance, but working in ratio is good. So what you do, you combine the two. More of turmeric anyway.
In cooking, you're talking about cooking.
In cooking. Well, if you cook it, you use it in cooking. But most times what I do, I recommend for patients, or apart from cancer patient, any other patient or any other person, you mustn't be a patient anyway, any other person that is taking it, you can take it in warm water. Add it in warm water.
As tea.
You can use it to take tea.
But can you add black pepper?
Yes.
It's
the two. You mix the two. You mix the turmeric and the black pepper. And wherever you don't want to add black pepper to it, for still the curcuminol compound to be extracted, you can add little oil to it.
What kind of oil?
You can add vegetable oil to it. Add olive oil. Add the one that is heart friendly, not the ones you mentioned earlier. Add a heart friendly oil to it. Add a little to it, and then take. The body will be able to do what? To extract it. Most of the minerals and the vitamins it contains, they are fat soluble vitamins. So they need fats for the body to utilize them. In the absence of fat, the body may not really utilize them well. So in that 60%, the body might just take like 20%. So you've lost up to 40. You understand? So that is what. Then looking at that is not the only herb.
I was going to ask you what other herbs can help.
So that's not the only one. You also have ginger. Ginger or 6.
Is there a particular way that it should be used to get optimal results?
Yeah.
Okay. Because you know that ginger can be very repulsive when you eat it in a certain way. So
you can take it in powdered form.
Okay.
You can take it in powdered form. We've actually done research on that. The difference is not much, just the moisture content. Okay. Some people will say, is it not processed? It is not processed. Even if it is processed, the nutrients are there. It is concentrated. You understand? It is not like the ones that are processed and then with added preservatives. The one the dietitians advocate, the one we produce, like I produce, the one we produce, You do not do what? You don't add any preservative. We don't advocate adding preservatives in what we produce. But what we do, we tell you the shelf life. You can use it for a period of 6 months or a period of 1 year, anything outside that. But once you add preservatives, we find out that you see it in the shelf there lasting for 4 or 5 years. It's still there. Then you now ask yourself question, that the active ingredient, are they really active? You understand? Are they really active? But like if we can go back to nature, in the olden days, our forefathers, they were into nature. They were taking the vegetables, they were taking the fruits, more of vegetables, more of fruits. They exercise a lot. Somebody might have a farm that is, I don't know even the kilometer. But now you find out that because of the sedentary lifestyle, effects of civilization and secularization, you find out that you sit down and you're pressing your phone. You may be pressing your phone. You don't know that you've already consumed 4 hours while pressing your phone. You are sedentary. You are not, it's not even so. You are not active. Your phone becomes your companion. You become anti-social. But you are socializing with your phone. So you find out that what the activity pattern is reduced. Because we are trying to look at those things that revolves around cancer. Because you know that obesity is one of the major leading factors.
Let's talk about obesity a little bit and then alcohol. Okay,
fine. So obesity is one of the major, obesity, overweight is the major risk factors. In as much as we have other risk factors, age, sex, exposure to environmental exposures, your diet. Obesity talks about, your intake and then the outputs. You try to look at your body mass index, your height, relationship between your height and your weight, the fat accumulation. When you check your height, you find out that our health-seeking behavior is very poor. People don't bother going to check. Let me even check my BMI. Most people don't even know what is BMI,
how can someone
right?
Check what? Of course, they don't even know what it means. So how would they now? So how would you suggest they go and check? Where or how, can they do it by themselves?
No, you can do it. You can do it.
Could you walk us through it?
Okay, what you do, if you have the measuring scale, at least the bedroom scale.
Okay.
Or if you have the bedroom scale, you can mount it and check. The reading is there. You can read it. Then if you have a calibrated, you can use non-stretcher or these non-stretchable tapes, right? You can use it. You calibrate it, just place it on the wall. You can check your height. It's in kg per meter square. That's your weight in kg. Then the height in what? In meters. It may be in cm. You convert
the conversion.
Yeah. So what you do, you multiply your weight over your what? Your height in meters squared. So once you multiply, you do what? You get your BMI. Let's see that between 20 to 25, you are within your normals. But if you are from 25 up, you are overweight. Then from 30 up, obesity. Do
you have any success stories, maybe of a patient who was in a particular stage of cancer progression, but with diets and medication?
Oh, yes.
Please, can you tell us about
this? Yes. I once had a patient, the PSA then, the post-trade specific antigen. It was actually high. So the patient was on particular drugs, Avodat and some other drugs, So the patient was on that drug for like a month. Then after that, I said, okay, can we just try diet? Let's try diet and see how it works. Because one thing about diet, all the different types of cancers, they target the diet. You have diet that target different types of cancers. So, but what we are talking about the general things that you can do, to abstain or to manage, right? But when it comes to one-on-one, discussion or one-on-one counseling, and depending on the type of cancer, because that one now is tending towards post-trade, right?
Yeah.
So what we do, what we did then, I said, okay, it was actually from that patient that, it was a patient that told me that he doesn't like taking watermelon. That, that if he tastes, it would be as if he's chewing buff. It does him somehow.
All right.
And I said, okay, since you don't like taking it. Because as at that point in time, what came to my mind, in as much as we are trying to increase the protein intake, we increase the protein intake, restrict all sources of free radicals. The body produces free radicals that causes oxidative stress. Oxidative stress are the ones that causes problem in the body that can damage the cells. And once the cells are damaged, we start talking about different diseases, more especially this cancer coming up. Cancer has stages: initiation, promotion stage, then progression stage. It has different stages, right? But at the same time, now, I now said, okay, fine. I said, we can restrict all the pollutions being exposed to different carbon monoxide, CO2. You get carbon monoxide from I pass my neighbor Jen now.
It's something that you can't control. However, we'll get back to that on how you can control that. I don't see how you can control it, but we'll get back to that. We're going to show special tips, health tips, for you to learn a thing or two for, towards a very healthy well-being and lifestyle. Watch this. Many thanks for still staying with us. Now, dietitian Choma Mwachuku, we're having a conversation and we said, I said there was no way you could control carbon monoxide. However, I need you to let us know how exactly, just one tip on how we can control our consumption of carbon monoxide. Then you wrap up this edition because we have come to the end of our show and time is not our friend right now. So tell us, how can you control carbon monoxide intake?
Okay, we are talking about getting it from emissions, like Jen said. In your house, you can cover all the windows. There are some people, once the gen is on, even the door is on, the windows are on. Are open. Yeah, the door is open, the windows are open. So, but if you close all the windows, close the doors, you know that it might filter in, but in a reduced quantity. Unlike once you leave it on. I used to tell my neighbor then, you just leave everything on, everything open. And it's filtering, you see it as a normal air, it mixes with the air, and you are inhaling it. You understand? But if you do that, you can. And at the same time, if you go to market, for those of them that have been exposed or maybe receive one lecture or the other, you see they have pipe, they channel it. Well, for someone that doesn't have anything, you don't know anything about it, you just on it and it's circulating everywhere, and everybody is inhaling it. That's it. Can I just say something about the alcohol?
Please.
Okay, so
use it as your parting shot.
Okay,
quickly,
so
2 minutes.
Alcohol has been linked to breast cancer, colon cancer, and it is very important that we do what we cut down. If we can restrict, fine. We can restrict alcohol intake. Restrict it entirely if you're a cancer patient is very, very important because alcohol displaces the B vitamins. You understand? It displaces it in the body. Once it is displaced, the B vitamins, they ensure that the nerves are functioning well. Some of them ensure that energy metabolism is going on well in the body. Some of them also ensures that the proteins, the production of red blood cells are ongoing. And then immune system too, some built immune system. So whereby you find out that what, anything that interferes, because once you take alcohol, it gives you the impression that you are okay. You are high. It solves the problem. False impression at that point in time. Exactly. So, but what happens is that you find out that you are frequenting the toilet or convenience. You are going there, you urinate, you come back. You think it's ordinary water that is leaving the body. No, it's not ordinary water. It's the nutrients that are just leaving the body. At the time, before you know it, you are down with one problem or the other. And at the same time, it's good we increase our fiber intake. Fiber helps a lot in controlling the colorectal cancer.
The truth of the matter is that you're coming back on this show for a part 2. I see that you're filled with so much to give, and we're going to give you that opportunity to let it all out. Thank you so much, dietitian Chioma Nwachukwu. Thank you for lighting up our studio and our program today. All right, that's the much you can take on Inside Health today. Thank you so much for staying with us. I'm still your host, Chigichi Agoram. See you same station, same time next week.